TNA Wrestling crossed that line again and produced a show full of surprises as we head towards Bound for Glory via Victory Road. And like I said, it delivered in more ways than one. I was wondering whether the show would be as exciting without some of the main championships on show. And boy, was I wrong. And again, some huge shocks and surprises on this show, which we will get into very, very shortly. One of the things that didn't happen, and I'll say this now because it's, I suppose, fitting, there was no NXT rebuttal to the invasion that TNA done this week. NXT does have a show this evening, so probably makes sense that maybe that waits until, well, maybe an episode of Impact. Who knows? We'll wait and see. But anyway, let's get into the Victory Road show and the pre-show match. The pre-show actually kicked off with that triple threat match between Zachary Wentz, Cedric Alexander, and Trey Miguel. They started this a bit like if you remember the Survivor Series with John Cena against DX when Shawn Michaels super kicked Triple H out of the ring. Well, that's exactly what happened here with the Rascals. Trey Miguel super kicked Zachary Wentz out of the ring to start the show, much to the shock of everybody again. By the way, the crowd was red hot during this. They're in Canada, of course, and yeah, Canadian crowds notoriously loud, and they certainly made their presence felt in this one. But anyway, this was a great freeway. This was a great X Divisions kind of showcase match. I actually got this prediction wrong. I've got a few predictions wrong. Surprise, surprise, during this. But this was a fast-paced, what you could imagine from the Rascals and Cedric Alexander. I mean, Cedric Alexander just proved in this match why he's one of the most underrated talents in wrestling. It wasn't a particularly long match, went less than 10 minutes, like quite a few of the matches, to be honest, on the show. But Cedric Alexander showed why he is just so extremely talented. You know what you're going to get a lot with the Rascals, lots of high flying, lots of excitement. And this made this sprint of a match just, really, really work with these three guys. However, it was Zachary Wentz that picked up the victory with the with the cutter, sorry, on actually Alexander. He broke up the pinfall that Trey Miguel, the submission that Trey Miguel had on him, and hit the cutter for the victory. So Zachary Wentz picks up the victorious victory in this, and yeah, very, very interesting. That one. Very interesting to see where they go with it. X Division, we'll get into it because there's a huge X Division match being announced for Bound for Glory. We'll get into that first. But Maclin was backstage getting ready for his match with Frankie Kazarian. And this is where it gets a bit more interesting because it's about how Frankie Kazarian disrespects him and all of that. El Messias from Triple R comes out and stares down Maclin. Now, Triple R, we know, is also under the WWE umbrella. What's going on? What is going on here? Are we going to get some Triple R stuff going on with TNA? I think they used to do that before as well with Triple R and Japanese and Mexican based wrestling. TNA have done them sort of shows before. So are we going to get Triple R thrown into the mix now as well? I can't take much more of this TNA. It's great though. It really is great. If we do, great. And here's to you, morning cup of Joe. Right. Bearing in mind, Victory Road went off the air about 3 hours ago, so it's very, very, very tired. Anyway, AJ Francis welcomed Matt Hardy to the penthouse. Now we know that one of the matches that wasn't going to happen on TNA was the Knockouts Championship match. We know they got cancelled. And Matt Hardy and AJ Francis was on the penthouse. AJ Francis was running down Matt Hardy, talking about the match with the Dudley Boys and all that stuff. But I don't think it helped that Matt Hardy kind of interrupted AJ Francis on here. But this ended up with Matt Hardy getting chokeslammed for a table by AJ Francis. And that's how it ended. And what did happen was later on in Victory Road, like I said, there was a replacement match, and Matt Hardy was part of it against AJ Francis. Another match that was actually on the show that I didn't realize was the system were taking on Order 4. Now, I don't know whether this match got added last minute because obviously, like I said, Knockouts Championship match wasn't going to be happening on the show. More on that in a minute, by the way, because there's some huge breaking news regarding the Knockouts Championship, which we'll get into very, very shortly. But the opener will end up being the remaining members of the system. Remember, Moose and Ali are wrestling later on. The remaining members of the system were going against Order 4. It didn't last very long. I mean, this was less than 5 minutes, this match. You know, you had eight guys in there, so it was a match where really eight guys are all trying to get their stuff in a very short period of time. I don't know whether, as I said, maybe this match was added late. I'm not sure about this match really being needed on the show. Like I said, eight guys trying to get their stuff in inside 5 minutes. Just wasn't, I don't quite think needed, to be honest. But still a good match. It was just a real quick sprint. The ending of the match, though, JDC top rope leg drop onto Skylar. So the system pick up the victory in that one. Now, Mustafa Ali and Moose is for advantage in the hardcore war match at Bound for Glory. So system pick up the victory there. Didn't predict it because I didn't know it was happening. So there we go. But again, was it needed? I don't know. You'd be the judge of that. Now, here comes one of the huge bits of breaking news coming up from TNA. Now, we knew late last night that Ash by Elegance was going to make an announcement during Victory Road. And the announcement, well, she was with Santino and Carlos, and you're thinking, well, what's going on here? Ash is no longer able to compete and therefore has relinquished the Knockouts Championship in a massively shocking turn of events here. Um, I don't quite know why, what's going on here. Crowd loved, the standing. I gave her a standing ovation. Then it was announced that there was going to be a Knockouts Battle Royal on the show. And the final two competitors of the Knockouts Battle Royal would wrestle later on in the show to become the new Knockouts Championship. And I suppose therefore take on Indy Hartwell bound for glory. Indy Hartwell, who was scheduled to be ref in a Knockouts Championship match, would still be refereeing the Knockouts Championship match later on. Don't know what's happened here with Ash. I hope all is well. Maybe it's an injury, not sure, but I hope it's I hope she's okay and she's back in action as soon as possible. Gives an opportunity out there, of course. Now, so from what if my maths is correct, there was 10 women in this match. Eight will get eliminated and two will survive to go on later on. I counted uh Lil Ruiz, Jodie Fret, I'm looking at my notes about this, sorry, Danny Luna, Zaya Brookside, the inspiration, because the tag out, that was the other bit of news. The tag team match for the tag team championships was being moved, I think, to this coming Thursday on Impact Wrestling on TNA Plus, much like you can get Victory Road on TNA Plus. More on that in a minute. The inspiration, Lei Ying Lee and Kelani Jordan was in this from NXT, if I'm right thinking. So Lil Ruiz didn't last very long. Inspiration dumped her out. So it was a TNA debut, didn't really last long. Maybe she'll get another bit of time on Impact this week. Who knows? Um, Jodie Fret was eliminated by Danny Luna. She also eliminated Zaya Brookside. Everyone else in the ring then ganged up on Danny Luna to eliminate her. The Inspiration and the Elegance brand was in there. Sorry, Heather and M by Elegance was in there. They teased eliminating each other on this until Lei Ying Lee and Kalani Jordan dumped all four of them out of the ring to be the two remaining survivors who will go against each other for the Knockouts Championship a little bit later on in the show. So the whole Knockouts picture has been blown up in in the space of the last 48 hours. It's been crazy what's happened. And you have to kind of feel a bit here for TNA because this obviously wasn't going to be the case. So you had to cancel the match with the Knockout Championship match. You then had to, Ash then relinquishes the championship. So they've had to do a lot of work very, very quickly in a very short space of time. So fair enough to them and more power to them for that it was a very quick battle royal. Again, you have to remember that TNA had to change things on the fly here. So very quick battle royal, still quite a very fun battle royal. But Kalena Jordan and Lei Ying Lee will wrestle later on for the Knockouts Championship with Indy Hartwell as referee. Tag team action followed Matt Cardona and Hometown Man against the Nemeth brothers. This one I got wrong. I predicted the Nemeth brothers would win this, and they did not. Someone on Twitter or on X actually said it's probably for 50-50 one here. And he was right because the Hometown Man, I think, is still undefeated in competition since returning. I don't know who he is yet. In this, but anyway, they did come out with, excuse me, still getting over the flu. They come out with the Buzz, the mascot of the Edmonton Stingers. Those of you that watch your sport in America will know all about that, or Canada will know all about that. Fans were chanting Chelsea's husband during this match for Matt Cardona, which was hilarious. Um, they also loved the hometown man because, of course, he was from Edmonton, and that in Minnesota and Phoenix and anywhere else the TNA guy. It was quite hilarious on this. It was really good, and it was the hometown man that got the pinfall. Again, less than 10-minute match. And again, it was a fun sprint. There was quite a lot of fun sprints on this one, and halfway through this match, we saw Joe Hendry backstage, and he again was hurting. Looks like he'd been attacked again, probably by EY. They have a match later on in the show. But a small package as Ryan was trying to tie up the hometown man in a sharpshooter. Got the victory. After the match on this, though, the Nemeths did attack Cardona and the hometown man. And they did rip off the hometown man's mask, but Cardona covered his face up so you wouldn't know uh, who it is, like you need to know. Right, NXT WWE went to war here. Mike Santana, Ridge Holland. Ridge Holland attacked Santana 2 weeks ago on Impact, and this led to this match. Really good promo from Santana to start this. And, like I said, this is showing you why Santana is the man in TNA. And I can't wait till he gets that championship around his waist because he is so good. Everything about him right now, he's on fire right now, and he's really showing why he should be. The TNA should strap that title to his back and let him take that company forward. He's brilliant. Anyway, the match itself, it was a hard hitting contest, really hard hitting. Again, less than 10 minutes, which was quite a surprise. But they went at it, these two. And, Ridge Holland gets a lot of stick. There's a lot of people blaming him for the Big E stuff, and it's not his fault. Like, these things happen. It's wrestling. You take risks every time you step foot in that ring. But I do hope to see more of Ridge Holland on TNA. I feel that right now in WWE he's kind of floating, and this match, he kind of just done this out of nowhere as well in NXT. There was no real sort of thing for him to do it. So I would like to think that Ridge could get a run in TNA. To be honest, I think he's been on Evolve recently in WWE, but he's good. I mean, there's no doubt about it. He is actually good, and yeah, one mistake doesn't always it shouldn't be the end of somebody. And this was again, this was a big sprint, hard hitting sprint by both guys, but it was the spin the block from Santana that picks up the victory. I didn't think anything else really, to be honest, was going to happen here because um, it was mainly going to be Santana had to pick up the victory because going to Bound for Glory to face the champion, you couldn't really have Ridge pick up the victory in this. But after the match, although Ridge did have a great showing in the match, but it was after that. Um, Trick Williams attacks Mike Santana. So at the end of this, got a beat down. The crowd love it, and this is another thing about Santana. The crowd are love the guy. They absolutely love Mike Santana, and this is another reason why you just have to, you know, you got to put that title on him. They have to put the title on Mike Santana. There's no reason for them not to put the title on Mike, and he's he's just brilliant. Mike Santana is just brilliant. I think that he's got every opportunity now to really cement himself as a world champion. And if TNA have, surely TNA will put the championship on Mike Santana at Bound for Glory. Surely he'll be the one to dethrone Trick Williams. I hope he does because there's a lot of stuff that there's a lot of the main championship is still on NXT right now. That's the big thing, and you know. I don't know. These two went at it, but like I said, that was pretty much it for the TNA WWE TNA war on Victory Road. Like I said, No Mercy is tonight for WWE, so I'm pretty certain there was reasons why that didn't happen. And that was probably why travel. We can't, you don't really want your guys getting caught up in any travel issues that are on the card tonight. No Mercy. So. Yeah, very, very interesting. What's going to happen? I'm looking forward to seeing what happens next with TNA and NXT because that is a war. And now, if you think about it, Triple R could also be in there as well. It's a very interesting time. Triple R. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Going to be interesting. But anyway, right, let's get on to the next match. Matt Hardy got cleared at this point, by the way, to compete against AJ Francis in a tables match later on in the show. Tables match, by the way. Later on in the show. Right. Mustafa Ali and Moose was next. This was brilliant. This was a kind of match that had everything hard hitting, fast paced. You know, Moose proving again why he's one of the MVPs in TNA wrestling. And this was also for advantage in the hardcore war match at Bound for Glory. This was you know, in terms of if this was an X Division match, you would be going crazy how good it is. This was so good. And I still think Moose doesn't get the credit he deserves in wrestling. He is so much more than just a big man. And I've said that so many times in this. He was taking a lot of moves during this, Canadian destroyers and everything like that. This was just brilliant. Ali delivered like he's always delivered for TNA. He must be someone that perhaps TNA may look at for the World Championship as well later on down the line. Again, this was a great match. Probably one of the first matches that went over 10 minutes in this. Big spear from Moose in this match as well, by the way. Huge spear for this. However, um, Ali hit the fifth 450 and Moose stood up from the 450. And then the dancers that were outside and on the ring got into the ring apron, or Ali's dancers, shall I say, that were on the outside, got up on the ring apron to distract the referee. And one of those dancers happens to be Tasha Steelz. Of course, it does. She low blows Moose, and then another 450 from Mustafa Ali picks up the victory and earns the advantage for the hardcore war match at Bound for Glory. What a great match. Did the ending kind of spoil it a little bit? You can argue it, but the match was good enough to get away with it. So yeah, this was good. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. Speaking of matches I enjoyed, Eric Young, Joe Hendry was next. Eric Young trying to cleanse Joe Hendry, of course, in this one. Over the last few weeks, he's been trying to cleanse Joe Hendry. We thought perhaps Joe Hendry wasn't going to be able to compete. He was because he got attacked earlier on in the night. And this was again, another fun little contest from TNA. Got Eric Young, wily veteran. Joe Hendry's been around the business ages, even though he's only really just shooting to fame right now. I was a bit with me on this prediction. I know I hadn't gone through my predictions for the last few matches, but I got them all right. The Knockouts Battle Royal I couldn't predict because I didn't know it was happening. I predicted Joe Hendry. Joe Hendry did win the match with a standing ovation through the table on this. Um, but yeah, this was there was a bit on there when Eric Young blocked the referee's vision, and again there was another low blow. I don't like too many low blows in wrestling as well. I think that's another thing. That and cutters. getting me at the minute. Although I know Zachary Wentz won with a cutter earlier in it. But yeah, really good match this. Standing ovation onto the chair. The ref didn't see that, and Joe Hendry picks up the victory. And we still all believe, guys, in Joe Hendry. Now, Matt Hardy, AJ Francis in a tables match. You kind of knew who was going to win this one after what happened during the pre-show. Yes, Matt Hardy, and again, didn't predict it, didn't know it was going to happen. Matt Hardy did indeed win this match. Top rope leg drop through the table. It's early, gentlemen and ladies and gentlemen. It's early, okay. Top rope leg drop through the table from Matt Hardy picks up the victory. Again, fun match. AJ Francis is still one of the excuse me, sorry again. It's bloody man flu. Still can't get rid of it. AJ Francis still again one of the most underrated wrestlers and characters in wrestling. So much better than what people give him credit for. That's for sure. Right, so we are going to crown a new Knockouts World Champion in this. Would it be TNA's Lei Ying Lee or would it be NXT's Kalani Jordan? And well, I can tell you that once again, the TNA Knockouts Championship is not under a TNA or not with a TNA wrestler. NXT's Kalani Jordan has won the Knockouts Championship in a shocking turn of events here at Victory Road. Again, really strong match. Lei Ying Lee. We're talking about people that are underutilized and have not really, not given the opportunities to showcase their talents. Lei Ying Lee's another one. She is brilliant, outrageously brilliant. This match was really, really good. I wasn't sure what to expect from it because I haven't really seen. I've been watching more NXT recently because of this stuff with TNA, but I hadn't seen a lot of Kalani Jordan. But she's good. She's really good, and this match was awesome. She did inadvertently take out Indy Hartwell, who was refereeing this match. Indy Hartwell looks amazing, by the way. Jeez. Obviously she's got the championship opportunity at Bound for Glory. But Jordan hits one of a king to become the new TNA Knockouts Championship. Which is an incredible moment. Carlos Silva at ringside as well as Indy Hartwell um, to give the championship to Kalani Jordan. Very well done. On a side note, we must have to congratulate the beautiful people for being the next inductees into the TNA Hall of Fame this week. That was a nice surprise for everybody. I'm really happy for them. Really happy for the both people. Congratulations, Angelina Love. Congratulations, Velvet Sky. You both deserve it for the work that you put in under TNA, under your TNA banner, and of course, wherever else you've worked in WA and stuff as well. Must also say that Ash by Elegance was at ringside to present that championship to Kalani Jordan. So, but once again, Knockouts Championship is under NXT banner. I'm sure that's going to make people very unhappy. Speaking of new champions, Frankie Kazarian beat Steve Maclin for that championship, not without some controversy. Again, this was solid. This match again, they were beating the crap out of each other. Kazarian has always got that little bit of being able to counter stuff very quickly in this as well. They fought a really good, you know, solid 12 to 15 minute match with these two. Really enjoyed it. We saw earlier on El Macias come out when Steve Macklin was being interviewed. He gets involved and stares down Macklin again, causing the distraction for Kazarian to hit a slingshot cutter. God, I hate cutters right now. But the slingshot cutter was enough to get the job done on Steve Macklin and become the new international champion. And to be fair, and I don't mean this, Steve Macklin loved him as champion, really did. Um, but if you're going to lose it to anyone, Frankie Kazarian's the man because he has been great for TNA over these last couple of years. He's solidified himself as the king of TNA, and now he's got a championship to back up. And I actually think when we interviewed him recently, and big thanks to TNA for that, that he did mention about the International Championship potentially being a stepping stone to the World Championship. Now he's got it. But El Macias and Maclin, I've got a feeling that's going to Bound for Glory. Or maybe they're going to do another Worlds Collide. And it's going to go there, but it's made things a lot interesting. What a great match that was, by the way. What a great match. Main event time. Leon Slater, Myron Reed, X Division Championship. Unbelievable match. This was incredible. Main event fitting. To be fair, if you put this on first, you got to get the card to follow it, and it weren't going to be easy. These two absolutely over. Say you was expecting a fantastic match, and they still over delivered on that. It was outrageously good. These two, they're flying around everywhere. They're just you just watch it. Just go get yourself TNA Plus. Watch this match. It was unreal. Um, the only thing I would say was I didn't think that Myron Reed was going to win the X Division Championship, and I was proved right. The springboard of the Swanton 450 from Leon retained. It was just an incredible match. But just when you think that TNA can't, that match, TNA Leon Slater can't get any better. They announced Leon Slater's opponent at Bound for Glory, everybody. And I will, whoever has to follow this match at Bound for Glory, good luck. It's going to be Leon Slater one-on-one with Javon Evans. I'll leave you to enjoy your weekend on that bombshell, but make sure you get the TNA Plus app. Make sure you download it. Make sure you subscribe. And make sure you watch Bound for Glory on October the 11th or 12th. Ooh, got that wrong. I mean, it's October the 12th. Make sure you watch Bound for Glory on October the 12th. We'll be back with some more stuff on the podcast in the next few days. But until then, everybody, go and watch Victory Road if you haven't done. Have a good weekend and stay safe, everyone.